Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be dissertating and talking about the ruler of the 12th house posited in the 3rd house in a natal horoscope. Well, as most of you know, the 12th house is connected with restrictions, limitations, self-undoing, the secretive part of the nature, hospitals, prisons, and also connected with secret enemies or adversaries, hidden enemies. The 3rd house is communications, short journeys, the neighborhood, early education, and siblings. Now, anyway, let me get started. It's interesting because I have this placement, and first, obviously, when we look at restrictions, some restrictions, maybe this person it might have to some degree, might be something connected with early education. The child, we could say the siblings. I was born with not born with them. I don't have any brothers or sisters. So in some isolated cases, it can indicate maybe this person doesn't have any brothers or sisters, or it could show maybe a diminished relationship with them, perhaps. Either way, perhaps some restriction connected with this. There may be some restrictions with maybe as far as the people in their own neighborhood. Maybe there's not much communication with them and these people. I'll be frank, I think this fits me too because I really don't talk with anybody on any consistent basis in my community that I live in. We look at this, and on the surface, it could really look like that maybe this person has some inability to maybe articulate as well as he or she would like to. And I think, obviously, if you have a strong Mercury, 3rd house, or whatever, this can kind of counteract or neutralize this. I pride myself on being fairly verbose and being able to articulate things fairly well, and I have this placement. I think how it can affect some people is that maybe this person limits their communications with others to some degree, and maybe some kind of seclusion or things connected with solitude might impact their communication. It doesn't necessarily mean that this person isn't going to have good diction or doesn't have the ability to be able to articulate things. I think in a lot of cases it just means maybe this person maybe they need to expand the social circle, and maybe there's just they limit themselves maybe to some degree as far as the amount of people that they talk to. Anyway, another thing I look at with this is that perhaps since the 12th house is connected with Pisces, maybe there's some confusion, chaos, or ambiguity might be injected into their communication. Like I stated before, I have this placement, even though I pride myself on my communication ability. Sometimes I'll say something and people will look at me kind of perplexed, and they took it maybe they took it in more, might have misconstrued something I said and took it one way when I really meant to say it in the other manner, the way it was supposed to be interpreted. We look at this position, and perhaps there might be some secret enemies that this person has might impact, I guess, their communication with others to some degree. Maybe this person at one point in time gets tied up with somebody that is a secret enemy, and maybe somehow by having to deal with this, it might impact maybe this person's communication to some degree. A secret enemy, for example, might say slanderous things or say negative things to others about this person, and it might alienate people that were formerly in their social circle, and then thus diminishing communication. Look at this placement, and perhaps this person's might have some interest in some kind of metaphysical or if I'm saying the word right, paranormal uh, interests, and might impact their communications with others. Maybe this person injects this interest into their communication. Perhaps some 12th house interests, like what I described, might impact a relationship with siblings. Perhaps this person gets brothers and sisters, or one or more of them, interested in things connected with the metaphysical. Perhaps this person's need to be their compassionate side, their philanthropic nature, inspires them to write, to communicate. I mean, I do have some videos on another channel. Some of you know Zodiac Man 2007, and some of my videos are based on the fact about having certain compassion for others, and letting people know in a lot of instances they're not alone in certain situations in their life, certain negativities that might surround them, or negative elements, I should say. So we look at this placement, and we could look at the 12th house. Sometimes the self-undoing might be connected with their communication. Might have something to do with maybe the lack of rapport, possibly between neighbors in their environment. Hospital, maybe some experience with hospitals and or prisons might have some impact on how they communicate with others. Hospital might, maybe to some degree, has an impact on the early education of this person, or might even impact some relationship with brothers or sisters, their siblings. Well, anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for the ruler of the 12th house, posited in the 3rd house in a natal horoscope. Stay tuned next time, where I'll be dissertating and talking about the ruler of the 12th house and the 4th house in a natal chart. Two things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel, but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis on a person, astrologically speaking, based on this alone. Because a person astrologically is the sum of all their components in their natal chart, and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.